want to get right into today's message as we talk about this big idea of getting unstuck. This is going to really impact your life if you have been feeling stuck for quite some time. And I believe stuck happens to all of us. Whether we want it or not, stuck is something that you and I have to experience in life. Unfortunately, it just seems to happen in the human condition. And that's actually why I wrote the book, Unstuck, Turn Potential into Purpose, with this big idea of what does it look like when you take the moments of your life where you are stuck and you walk with God in such a way where you get unstuck together. That's what we want to get into in this process. I remember for me, in my life, one moment when I really feel stuck is when I'm on a cruise ship. Well, it wasn't quite a cruise ship. It was more of one of those ferries that they have in Africa. And I was going from Zanzibar to Tanzania. Now, Zanzibar is a beautiful tropical island. I had just been hanging out for a few days there with some friends. We had a great time, but now we were on a turbulent experience going to Tanzania. And as we went across on these incredible, I can't even describe to you how big the falls were as we would go up in the air on the boat and then it would come crashing down. Now, some people just are very good in those situations. They're completely composed, and then there is me. And I'm at the other end of the spectrum on it. I am a person who I do not like anything that has to do with feeling seasick, motion sickness. And it came all over me in that moment that I felt unbelievably sick. I didn't feel like I was going to get out of the situation alive. And for that entire process, I felt stuck on the boat and wondered if we would ever get to the other side. And what made me feel really secure in that time is that they told us that just 2 weeks before, one of these ferries had actually sunk going from Zanzibar to Tanzania. So I'm worried about whether or not we're going to get there, and I'm also worried if I'm just going to get sick and lose it everywhere. I feel stuck. But that's not the kind of stuck that I experienced that was even worse a few years later, because it wasn't just a moment, but it became something in my life as I was working in this world, trying to really make it work in my business and the entrepreneurial life, and I really wanted to get there. Some of you may know exactly what that's like, where you have an endeavor and you really want to get there. The problem was, I was always just 1 or 2 deals away from getting to the other side. I was, whether I wanted to admit it or not, I was more stuck than I ever knew. And part of the challenge for me is that I just had this identity complex in it too, where my success was the same as my identity. So that's how I wanted everyone to know me, was according to the things that I was doing in my business and everything else in life. And so I had to project an image that was actually bigger than where I truly was. When it got really bad, though, was one night watching an episode of Parks and Recreation. A lady drove into my Honda CR-V that was parked on the curbside, and she totaled it. Now, she was okay, but from that point, things began to get worse, because what happened was I got a check in the mail, and I knew I could go buy a vehicle with it, but I had some promises from different businesses and different people that they were going to engage with some of the coaching and different experiences that I offered. So instead of buying a car, I waited for something else to come in financially, one of these new deals, and none of them happened. And then my money ran out, and I was suddenly stuck without more business coming in and without a car. That is, in 2020 in Oklahoma City, which is one of the largest cities by landmass in America, that is a true feeling of stuck. And so I'm bumming rides from different people. I'm doing Uber. I am feeling completely humiliated inside because I just can't seem to get to the other side. I'm stuck. And yet I have this thing inside of me where I have to make it. I have to get there. And I keep persisting. And I'm always one or two deals away. And business kind of keeps trickling along. And what happens as time goes on is I'm getting unhealthier on the inside. I'm becoming, as I go along, a person that I don't really even like to be around. So I'm not just stuck in my business. Now I'm stuck with the person that I don't want to be. Some of you know exactly what that's like because in life, we all get stuck. We all get to points in our life where the thing that we wanted and where we are, that the distance between that is so big that we wonder what we've been doing all along. In those moments, our life can really feel completely overwhelming to us. What do I do? How do I move forward? How do I get out of this? I don't know anymore. I don't think I can do anything else. I'm stuck. For some of us, it ends up that we actually end up in a place where we're stuck with incredibly jealous feelings as we see other people succeed in life. Whether that's success in business or success in relationships, whether that's, you name it, it's just whatever they have, I wish I could have it. And for others, it's stuck in a bitter experience of your life that happened years ago. And you can't quite get past it. You're still stuck there. And for others, what you're very familiar with is actually the feeling of being stuck and being overwhelmed and sadness when you're by yourself. You're stuck, wanting more in life, but you've been hurt so badly that you don't want to give more in life. I want more, but I don't want to try anymore. And that's a really difficult place to be. When you're there, you can say, I'm stuck. Some people just feel incredibly stuck with how confused they are as what is the next right step. It seems like there are so many different things that I could be doing, but I don't know what to do. And I'm stuck. And then there are other people along the way. It's not so much all the decisions in front of you, it's things that happen in the past that continue to go inside of your mind. It's the moments of shame that have now defined your life. It's the moment that happened in third grade that you don't talk to anybody about, but that shifted your trajectory so significantly that your life is stuck in shame. Stuck happens to all of us. And what gets really challenging is a lot of times when we're stuck, we see other people's success, we see other people thriving, and especially in a social media era, I don't have to tell you about it, where we show each other our highlights. And if we're looking at each other and everybody else has a highlight reel, but you are way too familiar with your own failings, with your own struggles, with everything that's happening on the inside, how do you ever move forward in life when you're really stuck? The good news is this, is that in all of the tension that you and I experience in life and how we end up getting stuck, that this is not something that's new to the human condition, that people throughout time and space have been getting stuck. It goes all the way back to the very beginning when God told some people, Adam and Eve, you can have all the fruit that you want in this garden, but just don't eat from this one tree. And then they did eat from that one tree. And when they ate from it, they became stuck in their sin. They became stuck in their shame. They became stuck in their regret. It happens to all of us, and ever since Adam and Eve, we've all been in a place throughout time and history where we get stuck. And so this is the message just from the beginning as we go deeper into the idea of getting unstuck, I want us to go to Isaiah chapter 43 today, because in Isaiah chapter 43, there's something that's spoken to you and I and the tension that we experience in life, because the tension is real. The knots you feel in your stomach are real. The feeling inside when you're overwhelmed and you don't feel like you can go forward, you don't know how to get out of where you are, that's very real. And yet God has a message for you even in that space. When you don't have it figured out, when you don't know what's next, God still has a message for you, and he invites you to himself in the process. That's the beautiful thing, is that throughout time and space, God has always had a heart and he's had a message for stuck people. So this is what he says in Isaiah chapter 43, verse 19. See, I am doing a new thing. Somebody say, new thing. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. I am making a way. You didn't have a way, but I am making a way. It begins with this belief that I am doing a new thing. What happens in your life when you really believe that God is doing a new thing? Like, what could actually happen if you shifted your mindset from I am stuck to I have a God who is doing a new thing? And this is the secret that I want to share, because there is an unstuck secret. The big secret that so many people miss in life is that there is a God who is doing a new thing. And within that big secret, here it is, unstuck people trust in a who, not in a how. Unstuck people trust in a who, not in a how. If you're stuck, a lot of times the reason that you're stuck is because you're trying to do things how you've always done things. And hey, I don't think I'm the first one to tell you this, but if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. If you want something different, you have to do something different. And sometimes, for us, the very first step of doing something different is putting our trust in who? Putting your trust in a God who is doing a new thing. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with, what does it say? With all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding in all your ways. How many of your ways? In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Unstuck people trust in a who, not in a how. It's a belief that in the process, I don't have everything figured out, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to trust in the Lord with all my heart. I'm going to lean not on my own understanding. Because I know I could lean on what I've got, but what I've got hasn't gotten me where I want to go. And the more I lean on what I got, the less I'm going in the place that I want to go. So if I really want to go in the place that I want to go, I've got to trust in the person. I've got to lean on the understanding of one who can get me there, of the one who makes a way in my life. So I trust in the Lord with all my heart. I lean not on my own understanding, and in all my ways I submit to him. And it says, he will make my paths straight. He'll make your paths straight. It's a process of trusting him. And he knows. You know, God actually knows that it's hard for you to trust him. That's why he wrote you an entire book. 66 books. Like, consider it. God knows that it is difficult for you to trust him. And when you are trusting him, he's like, wow, that is amazing. That's what I've been looking for. You are getting it. You're moving forward, because now you're not trusting in how, you're trusting in who. And right now, at this moment in time, in this moment in history, the thing that a lot of people are running into is that they've had a how that has worked for them a lot in their life. But that how isn't working at this time anymore. It doesn't always work in a crisis. And what they've done in the process is they've pushed away from the who to embrace their own how. And now they're more stuck than they would ever want to admit to anyone. They don't want to acknowledge that they're stuck. They don't want to tell anyone that they're stuck. A lot of them feel afraid and overwhelmed, and they don't know where things are going. They don't know how they're going to make it. They see everything happening in the world at this time. What they feel is stuck. You may be in that place right now. You had a blueprint, you had a plan, you had how everything was going to go. You're stuck. What do we do in that moment? See, John chapter 5, verse 39 actually talks about this. Jesus gives us a blueprint to remember how we go about it in these moments. He says, you study the scriptures diligently because you think that in them you have eternal life. These are the very scriptures that testify about me, yet you refuse to come to me to have life. Sometimes we even read our Bibles trying to find the how, and we miss that the whole story is about a who, and that who is Jesus, who is here to take you by the hand and lead you every step of the way going forward. It's about trusting in a who, not in a how. Unstuck people trust in a who, not in the how.